Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at drawing and designing a 7-inch trivet and preparing to cut it on a CNC mill. To begin, we're going to start with New, Standard IPT, and click Create. I'm going to begin with a 2D sketch selected from my ribbon bar, selected on my XY plane, and on my world here I'm going to take and click the front view in order to zoom out. Beginning with the rectangle tool, I'm going to come to my origin, wait for the green dot please, and stretch a rectangle up and to the right hand side. My horizontal dimension is 7 inches. Press the tab key. And my vertical dimension is 7 inches. Press enter on the keyboard. Then we're going to take in green check mark, finish sketch, and I'm going to go home. Next I'm going to take and extrude to give my piece thickness. I'm going to extrude in direction number 2, and I'm going to enter in a dimension of 0.38. Okay, I'm using 3/8 inch plywood for this. Click OK. Next I want the slots on the front here, so I'm going to do that by placing a 2D sketch on my front view. Zoom all. I'm going to begin placing rectangles and dimensioning them and locating the rectangle on the workpiece. My horizontal dimension for this rectangle is 5.5 inches, 5.5. Press the tab key on the keyboard, and my vertical dimension is 0.5. And press enter on the keyboard. Press the escape key. Next I need to locate this rectangle left and right and top to bottom. So I'm going to do that with my dimension tool. I'm going to click the bottom of this rectangle, the bottom of the workpiece. Bring this dimension out. This is 3/4 of an inch or 0.75. Green check mark. I also want a dimension from the left hand side of my rectangle to the left hand side of my workpiece. This dimension is 0.75. Green check mark. Now I'm going to be placing a series of rectangles going up here, and this dimension here is kind of getting in the way of that. So to make things easier for me to work with, I'm going to press the escape key to let go of my rectangle or my dimension tool. I'm going to click this 5.5 inch dimension. I'm going to place it in the middle of that rectangle. Okay, make things nice and neat for our dimensioning. Next, another rectangle. I'm going to take and click just above that rectangle we just drew, and this one is going to be identical. 5.5 for a horizontal dimension. Press the tab key. 0.5 for a vertical dimension. Press enter on the keyboard. Press the escape key. Once again I'm going to drag this dimension, the 5.5 inch dimension, inside that rectangle. And now I need to locate this just like I did the opposite one. So I'm going to dimension from the bottom of this first rectangle we drew to the bottom of the second rectangle. This dimension comes out, and this dimension is 3/4 of an inch or 0.75, and green check mark. I also need to locate left and right. Once again, it's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to click the left hand side of my rectangle, the left hand side of my workpiece, bring this dimension out. This dimension is 3/4 of an inch or 0.75. Green check mark. Next we have two small rectangles stacked above here so that we can laser engrave in the middle. So let's do that, and we're going to create a rectangle. This rectangle's dimension is 1.75. Press the tab key, and it's 0.5 half inch tall. Press enter on the keyboard. Press escape. Once again I'm going to move my dimension inside the rectangle to make things a little easier for me. And I'm going to take in dimension to locate this rectangle from the bottom of that rectangle to the top of the one beneath it. And this dimension is 0.75. Green check mark. Please keep track of where you're putting your dimensions, because this is going to start getting a little difficult to look at. Dimension again from the left hand side of the rectangle, left hand side of the workpiece. This dimension is 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. Press enter on the keyboard. With that rectangle drawn and located, there's going to be another one that's identical to that over here. Press the escape key. Let's go get our rectangle tool again. So I want to take and draw another rectangle. My horizontal dimension is 1.75. Press the tab key, and my horizontal or vertical dimension is 0.5. Press enter on the keyboard. Press escape key. Once again, I'm going to take and move my dimension inside that rectangle. And then I need to locate this box. So I'm going to take and dimension. I want to dimension from the left-hand side of this rectangle that we just drew to the left-hand side of my line, or left-hand side of my workpiece. And this one I'm going to bring way up here to the top. And this dimension here is 4.5, 4.5 inches. And green check mark. Next, I also need this offset from the rectangle below it, so I'm going to dimension again. I'm going to dimension from the bottom of that rectangle to the top of the one beneath it. Bring this dimension out to the right, and this is going to be 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. Green check mark. Okay, we're halfway there. We need 2 more of these long rectangles stacked up here, and that'll finish our trivet. So let's get a rectangle tool. I'm going to click, stretch out a rectangle. Once again, these are identical, 5.5 for horizontal dimension, 1/2 inch for my vertical dimension. Press enter on the keyboard. And we're going to take and place our location in there after I take my 5.5 inch dimension and place this in the middle of my box. Get your dimension tool. I want to dimension from the bottom of this rectangle to the bottom or top of the rectangle beneath it. This distance is 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75. Green check mark. Dimension again from the left-hand side of this rectangle to the left-hand side of the workpiece. This dimension is 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75. And we have one final rectangle to place on there. Let's get our rectangle tool. Draw a rectangle. 5.5 is my vertical or horizontal dimension, excuse me. Press the tab key, and 0.5 is my vertical dimension. Press enter. Press the escape key. And once again, we need to locate this rectangle on the box. Let's press the escape key to let go of all your tools that you're holding, and I want to move this dimension to the middle of my rectangle. Click on it and drag it down. If you're not holding anything with your mouse, it'll drag easily for you. We're going to dimension from the bottom of this rectangle to the bottom or top of the one beneath it. Once again, this dimension is 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75. And I want to dimension from the left-hand side to the left-hand side of my workpiece. This dimension is 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that looks great. Let's take and finish our sketch. We're going to take and extrude. We're going to extrude and select the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles that we drew. We want to extrude to cut, so we want to select this button right here. And my material is 3/8 of an inch thick, or 0.375. I'm going to extrude half of that, because this is going to get cut twice on the CNC mill, to 0.188. Or I could round that and go 0.19. And we're going to select OK. Next, we're going to take and go to the orange capital letter I. We're going to save as. I'm going to take this and bring it into my H drive. For us, it's first initial last name 000. And I am going to call this my first name and then trivet, or my last name and then trivet, whichever one you want to choose. And click Save. But make sure you're going to your H drive. Next, let's talk about running our tool paths. I'm going to come up here to my Cam tab, and I'm going to first set up this job, so I'm going to select my setup folder. I'm going to change my origin from stock box point to model origin, and that brings my WCS icon down here to the lower left hand corner. I work these tabs going across, or first going down top to bottom, and then my tabs left to right. So after I have my model origin set, I'm going to take and select my stock setup. Right here where it says the depth, I'm going to change from 0.5 and I'm going to force it to 0.375, which is 3/8 of an inch. My post-process comment I'm going to enter in. I'm going to put my name and trivet, and then I'm going to click OK. Next, I'm going to click my 2D pocket tool. I'm going to first select my tool, and once again I'm going to come down to Sample Tools Inch, and then on the right hand side I'm going to scroll down till I get my 1/8 inch flat end mills, and I'm going to choose the 1, 2, 3/8 1/8 inch flat end mill down, and click Select. Next, coming across, I'm going to choose my geometry, and I want to make sure I'm selecting the bottom of each one of the pockets we created by drawing these rectangles. Moving over to the next tab, I want to select my heights. My clearance height I want at stock top, and my clearance offset 0.2. My retract height, stock top 0.2. My feed height, I'm going to change to stock top 0.2. Moving across, I'm going to indicate my number of passes. On this screen where it comes down to stock to leave, I'm going to deselect that. And next I'm going to select my linking parameters tab. And here I'm going to uncheck lead in, I'm going to uncheck lead out, and my ramp style I'm going to change to plunge. Once you have those selected, click OK. It's going to run your tool paths for you. The next thing that we need to do is prepare to cut our part. So in order to do that, we need to post-process this first. I could also click Simulate here. Click Play. Once it's finished showing you how it's going to cut your part, you can click the Close window down here in the bottom. Then we're going to post-process. I want to choose the post-processor that says 1 Butler MS Techno Easel. And I want to change this look in folder. Let me show you what I clicked again. This little gray box here. I want to make sure I'm going to my first initial last name 000. My program comment down here, I'm going to have my name and trivet, and click Post. Once again, I'm going to do my name, and click Save. Right here is your M&G code editor. We're going to take and X this out. I'm going to minimize my inventor. And then on the computer that has the CNC mill on the desktop right here, we're going to click to open the CNC mill. I'm going to translate execute. I'm going to go to my H drive. Once again, first initial last name 000. I'm going to select my trivet and click open. Select OK, and I want to preview. Press F on the keyboard, and then press S for side view, and then F for fit. And this is where you are going to stop, and you call your teacher over so that they can take a look at your drawing on your screen so that we can cut it. Once your piece is loaded in, you're going to take and mill it one time, flip it over, turn it 90 degrees, and mill it a second time to get the final product. Congratulations, nice job.